Hey, it's Joshua Vergara. What's going on, everybody? The Samsung Galaxy Note 9 review is coming along quite nicely. I'm still putting together all of my thoughts, and I'm using the phone in as many different ways as I possibly can because my version of the review is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be going through the different types of people for whom the phone might be for. But that's still coming in a number of days, so what I wanted to talk about on this particular video is the Galaxy Watch. I was going through my footage from Unpacked, and obviously it's nice that Samsung is continuing their particular smartwatches, and they're also continuing Tizen as a competitor to Wear OS, because it's great to have different competitors so that we can see where smartwatches and wearables in general are going. Now, the thing is, when it comes to all of these smartwatches, I always have to ask the question, do smartwatches even matter anymore? After all, I'm using a different type of smartwatch. Normally, I use a Pebble or Rebel 2, and in this case, I just got a Huawei Mi Band 3. Review on this coming pretty soon. The thing is, Samsung obviously has smartwatches that you're already familiar with. This is the Samsung Gear S3 Frontier, and then this is the brand new announced Galaxy Watch. They look pretty similar, don't they? It was easy on the outset to say that the Galaxy Watch looks too much like their previous smartwatch, and that might be a little bit of a bummer. It's not that big of a bummer though, considering that the look of the Gear S3 Frontier was already really great, and I have to give the Galaxy Watch a lot of credit for having a smaller version at 42mm, which fits much better on my wrist, even though I was okay using the Gear S3 Frontier at the times that I did. A lot of the same functionality is also in here. You're also going to get Samsung Pay services, you're also going to get LTE connectivity if you outfit it with a SIM, and you get all of the different apps in the ecosystem for Tizen OS. And then of course you have the rotating bezel, which is always going to be a fun thing to use on this smartwatch. So obviously it begs the question, with so many of the different features from the Gear S3 Frontier coming on the Galaxy Watch, what exactly has changed here? Who is this watch for, especially if you have used a Gear S2 or a Gear S3 and are still using it today? The answer might seem a little bit obvious, and that is the battery life. And the battery life is supposed to be somewhere between 4 to 6 days, depending on which size of the Galaxy Watch you get. But the reason why I have hesitated to do my full video on the Galaxy Watch hands-on, or rather my first impressions on it, is because I was trying to figure out whether or not this was a relevant device. After all, Qualcomm just announced, or rather they made a save the date for their announcement that is supposed to happen on September 10th for what is potentially going to be a new wearable processor, or potentially even a new wearable altogether. So it's taken all of this time for us to finally get a new processor for smartwatches, and now we're finally getting them not only from Qualcomm, but we're also getting one from Samsung. Even though it's not fully disclosed what type of processor is inside of the Galaxy Watch, it is the kind that will allow for longer battery life. And if that's something that we're starting to get in our future wearables, then I think smartwatches are actually going to become more relevant, whereas up until now, we haven't really had a whole lot to work with. So who is the Galaxy Watch really for? Well, the easy answer is for anyone who wants the best possible specifications. But especially because of that 42mm size, I think there is yet another person, the first timer. That's actually a pretty good pun, first timer. We're starting to get into an era of smartwatches where the battery life can actually make this particular ecosystem more practical. And it always starts with the processor. That's probably where it's going to start, and it's going to create a lot of new wearables from here on out. So after giving you my thoughts on the Galaxy Watch, after all, there's not a whole lot to say about it if you are a user of the Gear S3 Frontier, but realizing that processors are starting to actually change in smartwatch devices, well, it's time to actually talk about what might be coming in the future. So what do you guys think? Do you think that Samsung and Qualcomm potentially in the next month or so are going to usher in a new era of smartwatches and smart wearables that are actually practical because they have much better battery life? This is not to discredit smartwatches that have just come out in recent months like the TicWatch Pro, because you can still get creative with how the smartwatch is used in order to extend that battery life. And of course the TicWatch Pro, of which I have a review here on my channel, does that by having an essential mode, which is just a low-tech LCD screen that you can use in place of the full Wear OS experience when you don't really need all of those extra features. But as far as the Galaxy Watch is concerned, I'm really excited to see how that processor actually makes the battery life extend, but also I did see that the performance on the watch itself when scrolling through all of the different elements was actually a bit smoother than I remember the Gear S3 and the Gear S2 being. So with that in mind, we're going to wait for the Galaxy Watch to come in. Hopefully I get that 42mm size of the watch because I really want to see what it's like to have a smart wearable that is not just this huge Nixon-like device right on my wrist. So until all of that comes out, I invite you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that bell over on the side. Consider doing so if you want to see when I release any of my videos, and then drop some likes on my videos and get into the comment sections down below. For about an hour, maybe half an hour to an hour every other day or so, I just get into the comments and I just try to respond to as many as I possibly can. So if you want to have a discussion, let's go ahead and have that in the comment sections below. And from there, I'm going to go ahead and call it on this one. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to enjoy your tea, everybody.